Don't that people waiting outside. The session is on the opportunities in solar energy. We have all heard about explosive growth of the solar industry and announcements on installations, partnerships, and investments in this particular space. An entrepreneur looking for opportunities, or an executive from an adjacent space looking for expansion into solar, or someone who wants to join an existing solar company, or someone who wants to understand the basics of the industry just for knowledge. This event is for you. We have with us Mr. Rajesh Singh, and we give you his introduction. Rajesh Singh is the co-founder and chief operating officer of State and Solar. He is one of the true pioneers and leaders of the solar industry in India. He has been working on guiding the government's policies related to solar power. Presently, Rajesh is working on project Suja, which plans to set up a 20 megawatt solar PV plant in Rajasthan. Other than this, State and Solar is in the final stages of becoming the EPC execution partner to a big power producer in Gujarat and a telecom tower company in Gurgaon. These EPC projects are a total of 86 megawatt. Congratulations, Rajesh. It's so good. Prior to State and Solar, Rajesh was the general manager of Moza Beer PV, the largest solar company in India, and was hired to start their solar manufacturing. The case spent over 3 years at Moza Beer and successfully ramped up production from 0 to over 100 megawatts. Before Moza Beer, Rajesh managed the refrigeration yoke manufacturing factory of Sandtech at Parwan, comprising of about over 500 employees. We're privileged to have you in Rajesh today, and very welcome to this session by Dai. And without taking any further distractions for you in the audience, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Aggarwal. And I would like to thank Kai to give me the opportunity to speak over here. We had a similar session at Thai Jaipur a month back, and frankly, the response over here is not more overwhelming than what we had in Jaipur. There were 25 people over there. Yeah, it looks like it's a lot over 50. So, now this session is not going to be a lecture. Please ask questions whenever you feel like. If it's there in the presentation, I'll tell you it is there and come to it at a later date. If not, you might need the mic? Yes. Yeah. If not, we'll discuss it right at that point of time. Now, you would have a lot of questions. I may not have all the answers. And the answers which I do not have, I'll get back to you with the answers. So, right after the session is over, if you're not satisfied or if you have any more questions, please contact me. You can send me a mail or we can discuss it right here and I'll get back to you. Now, starting the session, the way I'm going to approach it is, one of the things is there's suddenly a lot of talk about solar. It all started somewhere in the end of last year and it's gaining momentum with a lot of people interested in investing in this industry. Now, I'll work forward and try to bring out why this has come about, what is the need for this, why is the government focusing on this industry, and how it has created a business opportunity and a set of regulations where this industry can grow, and it can grow at a rate which is very much faster or at a percentage growth rate which will be much more than the automobile sector. Now 5 years, 10 years down the line, this industry is going to be much bigger than the automobile industry. And worldwide, within the next 10 years, this industry is going to be at least 20 times the size of the automobile industry in terms of investments and returns. So that's why this industry is gaining momentum, is becoming important. Now let's look at why solar, why this whole industry. Now, if you all our needs everywhere are growing, and the energy consumption of the world within the next 15 years is going to grow at a CAGR of about 2.6%. And this CAGR within the next 15 years will have to be met. It's going to be met by a lot of sectors, a lot of power sources. But then if you look at the growth rate, where is the growth of the consumption coming from? It's pretty clear. Like the emerging economies are going to consume power, or the rate of growth of their power consumption is going to be much higher than in the mature markets or mature economies or in the transient economies. So let's look at it in the mature economies, what is happening. US would be the leader, where the growth rate would be about 1.8% CAGR annual growth rate. Then in the emerging economies, as it is very intuitive, China would lead. Their rate of energy consumption is going to go much higher. And next would be India. Now, if you look at it from an overall world perspective, China is the highest, the second would be United States, and the third would be India. So, now that is the reason why energy is becoming such an important topic. There is going to be massive increase in the demand, and this demand will have to be met. It is going to be met by these sectors, the biggest being natural gas, and this is going to be followed by coal and renewable. If you look at the growth rates of both, coal and renewable will grow at more or less the same CAGR, with renewable being slightly higher than coal. Now we come down to in renewable. What we've heard of till now is one is wind, with all of us have read about the success story of Suzlon and how it's captured the wind market. Second would be photovoltaic or solar. Whenever we all talk about solar, our exposure to solar till date has been in terms of water heating systems, specifically household water heating systems. And as I was talking to someone, Mr. Manoj, he saying if you want to install a water heating system in your house, first thing the dealer does is discourages you to do it. And then after you want it very badly, then he'll install it for you and he'll never give you service. So that's an industry which has not worked out very well till now. But it is going to grow in a different way. Water heating is going to come there, but water heating to produce power will be the segment which we grow. Now, if you have a look at it, there is going to be a growth rate, and till now, like the last year, the data is from 2000 to 2004, and all this data is like overall world data. The growth in renewable has been mainly in the solar photovoltaic industry in terms of grid connected power supply. Now this is one chart which would be quite important. Now if you look at today, what you see over here, the oil, coal and gas, these are the main segments of energy, right? as of now. The remaining are very minuscule. Now, as we are going to go forward, the fossil fuel is going to get depleted. It will not exhaust itself. But the amount of fossil fuel used to generate power will deplete at quite an alarming rate. As you see, the growth, like till about 2030, there's an increase in fossil fuel and then the reduction starts. And as we reach 2100, the entire scenario is going to change very, very drastically. If we take till here, that is your oil, that's coal, that is gas, and nuclear. Surprisingly, like most of us have a perception that nuclear is going to grow. It's going to be the main source of energy. But then the informed sources tell us no, it's not going to grow beyond a certain capacity. It is going to grow up to 2030 and then there's going to be decline in nuclear also. Because nuclear energy is not a cheap source of energy. It's pretty expensive. It's much, much more expensive than setting up a hydro power producing plant. So what will you end up with? We are going to have a lot of wind energy. Now why is the wind stable for the last 60 years? From 2040 to 2100, the wind energy will be stable. The growth rate is not going to be a lot higher. The simple reason is the number of areas where you can set up wind farms is limited. Like I was just speaking with Atul Shah, the CEO of Suzlon, and like we had a detailed discussion about getting into a hybrid sector where you've got wind as well as solar. So in that discussion what came out is Suzlon's already got about 60,000 acres of land all over India based on the wind potential. Out of the 60,000 acres, they graded it into A, B and C. A is where you have a high wind factor, where if you put up a wind turbine, the output is going to be a lot higher. B is slightly lesser and there's a C category. As of today, they've covered 90% of the A. Within the next 3 years, they're going to cover the entire A and about 50 to 70% of B, depending on the investments. So within another 15 years, they would have covered all the areas where there is enough wind. And this is the same story all over the world. And that's the reason why wind is going to be stable. The thing that will end up being a large part of the entire power supply. The entire power supply is going to be photovoltaic and solar thermal. This is all going to be solar energy. And that's how it's going to look like 90 years from now. Not very far. I think just 2 generations more. As of now, why is solar energy not very important? The main factor is cost. If you see the cost of producing energy through solar and thermal, hydro, wind, all these, you will find that natural gas works out as the cheapest and photovoltaic is many leagues ahead of it in terms of cost. This scenario is changing in the last 5 years and it will continue to change, and due to all the factors which are inherent in this system, the end point power of solar photovoltaic and solar thermal will reach grid parity in 2020 in certain parts of the world and by 2025 in most countries in the world. So that's not very far. And when you reach grid parity, that is when this sector is going to explode. There is going to be no need for any subsidy by the government. There is going to be no need for any other forms of investment, because The advantage of solar is you can set it up as big as you want. It does not have a minimum size. And the cost is not going to change very drastically as you ramp it up to very much higher scales. That is the advantage. In a hydro or in a thermal, like a coal-based plant, there is a minimum size. Beyond that, it is not feasible. So that is why this would grow at a very large rate. This is one of the biggest advantages. There is no fuel. All a solar photovoltaic or a solar thermal plant needs is land and sun. One setup, a photovoltaic industry has almost no maintenance cost. Then, as I said, it's flexible to locate close to the load centers. And this point really hit me very hard. Like about last week, I was in Ladakh. We were looking at the various places over there. There's a huge army base scattered all over Ladakh. And there's a Lake Panyong over there. It's quite about 250 kilometers from Lake. And as I was moving all around the road, there are no electricity cables, poles, but they had a cable moving right along the road, right up to that army base. But the cost of putting up that, cost of maintaining that would be so much higher than very easily setting up a solar thermal plant right over there, and it would be enough for those people. So in areas where there is no electrification, it would be much cheaper to set up these plants, taking the overall cost into consideration. It's modular in nature, as I said. You want to set up 1 megawatt, you set up 1 megawatt, half a megawatt, quarter, 5, 10, 15, 20, anything. It's just a multiplication. The cost doesn't increase. All you need is more land and you just keep adding. The commissioning time is less than 1 year. After you put in you have the money tied up, you place your order, it's up and ready within 1 year, and it starts producing power. Now this is the most important point from the business perspective. Like any business would give a returns, obviously. Otherwise nobody would do business. But this is one business where you know that 5 years from now, on this year, this is going to be my return on my investment. You can predict the cash flow. You can predict the profit you're going to make very easily. That is the beauty of this investment. It does not give astronomical return. It will not give you obscene returns on it. But it is a pretty attractive rate of return. And this, as of now, with Aggarwal Roy on the VAR part, this is a very important point. Because anyway, whenever you're going to set up a solar plant, it is going to be on land which is not suitable for agriculture. Otherwise, the land is expensive. It's a waste of time. So, there is going to be almost zero impact on human displacement or on the environment. Now, as I said, there are two types of technology. One is solar thermal and one is photovoltaic. These are the two technologies through which you will be producing power. Within photovoltaic, there are three technologies again. The first is crystalline silicon, which as of today has about 90% of the market share. The second technology is thin film. Now, thin film is at present gaining popularity, and it is a very good technology to use in buildings for facades, plus you generate power out of it. The third is concentration. where you've got less land, where you've got less area, you can concentrate the solar power and produce a similar amount of electricity. So these are the three technologies within solar photovoltaic. Then there is solar thermal. Now, solar thermal is just this. These small yellow things are reflectors, parabolic reflectors, and these brown ones are pipes through which liquid is heated, superheated in fact, right up to 350 to 500 degrees. And these are used to generate steam. In heat exchangers, the steam is used to drive steam turbines and produce electricity. Now within solar thermal, there is a parabolic trough system